Everything old is new again. America's entertainment pop culture talk show.
It may well possess a rudimentary intelligence.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Felt a great disturbance in the force.
Hello, I'm Mr. Red.
Come on, bark like a dog for me.
Where's the goodies?
Leave the gun. Technique and only.
I bet you wouldn't have done anything like this if Mom and Dad were here.
You filthy criminal.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Here are your hosts, Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
30 years ago, during the Cold War, there was an experiment. Something went wrong. They opened up a passage.
When you go through this door, you come out the other side, you're in another world, identical to ours.
There was one reality, and then it duplicated. We share genetics, childhood. I want to know how you became so different. A kill order came out from my side, targeting people on your side. Your wife may be her next target.
Welcome to Everything Old is New Again. That's intriguing. This is Douglas Viviani with the ever super fan himself, David Cohen.
Yes, very excited today, Doug.
What are you a super fan of, David?
The series Counterpart, which is on Stars, which nobody gets, but it's a great show.
Now, a little ways back, we had Mito Hamada on the show. Remember this?
I do.
And he was on that show.
Yes.
And it was such a good response we received from everyone listening. They wanted to know more, dive in more. I'm going to just describe the show for 2 seconds, and then we have a special guest that we're going to get right to. But if you haven't seen the show, in essence, in Berlin, this is a general description. There is a door to another parallel universe where we exist also and have made maybe different choices and are different people, if you will. So
right, hence the name Counterpart. So when the world kind of split roughly 30 years ago, so everybody in the world now has a counterpart in this parallel world. As Doug mentioned, there's a door, there's a tunnel that connects the two worlds. Only the embassies know that the other world exists, so normal people like you and me, Doug, wouldn't even know about this thing. But there's a lot of espionage that goes on within that tunnel, crossovers to the other world, meeting counterparts, a lot of shooting, a lot of spy work, very exciting. But a lot of it is about the choices that an individual makes in this world versus choices that they would make in the alternative.
One thing I disagree with is you called me normal. I don't know if I strive for that.
That's true. Right. Sorry about that.
David, who is our guest?
Oh, wow. We're really honored to have one of the main characters on the show, Sara Serraiocco, who plays Baldwin on the show. Sara, welcome to Everything Old is New Again.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak with you today. Thank you.
Thanks for sticking around to wait for us to actually get to introduce you. I know it took a little while.
Yeah, there's usually a big wind-up before we get to the intros.
Now, on this show, your character, I'm not going to give too much away, but you kind of got to give a smidge of a flavor here for people that haven't seen the show, is an assassin extraordinaire. And so that's something that is, I think, very interesting in terms of a part to play. In that, I don't want to lead too much on, but what about the character in, like, the assassin is from the, we'll call it the other universe. Your counterpart, if you will, we'll call it our universe, is or is not an assassin, and if not, how interesting is that?
I mean, I just want to say that working on the show has been an incredible experience for me, probably one of the best experiences of my life. And I play Baldwin. She is a killer, an assassin from the other side, and I also play Nadia, who is her counterpart. And I love Baldwin. I love her strength and determination, and I try to give her real emotions and vulnerability. She is a killer, and she's really good at her job, but she's vulnerable. She doesn't know anything about real life, and she has no friends, no place to live. And it was really interesting to me as an actress to play this role.
And Sara, you mentioned that Baldwin is an assassin. She's sort of a loner, and as you mentioned, there's a vulnerability to her. What was it about the character of Baldwin that you connected with? Because obviously you, Sara, are not a killer, I would assume.
Yeah, correct.
Well, you have killer looks, so you can go that way with it, but go ahead, David.
Yeah, I'm totally different, and probably because I like challenges in general, and I like playing different kinds of roles. And and also playing two different characters was an opportunity to grow as an actress. And because Nadia and Baldwin were the same person, but they lived different lives. And for example, Nadia lives in Berlin, and she is a successful violinist, and Baldwin is a killer. And so it was really exciting for me to play two different kinds of roles.
Now, I also understand when you auditioned for the part for Baldwin, was it true that you really didn't speak English at the time?
Yeah.
How did you pull that off? Tell me. I'm very interested.
I mean, I'm still working on it, but yes, when I got the role, I didn't know a word of English, and probably learning the language was my biggest challenge. And I also had to learn how to act in a different language, and it was tough. But I'm improving my English, and
well, obviously you did.
I've been working hard. Yeah.
You did a good enough job to get hired for the part, so you did something right.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
And,
thank you so much.
And then I guess there's the whole challenge I'm sure you faced with the physicality of the part of Baldwin, right? Shooting a gun and jumping and strangling someone with a self-tightening noose, which was really cool. So how did you train and prepare for that?
Yeah, it was really tough, but also fun. And to prepare for Baldwin, I had to work on the physical side of my character. And for a whole month, I trained 6 to 7 hours a day to prepare myself for the role with a professional stuntman who taught me how to hold the gun, jump, run while holding the gun. I mean, everything that makes a character realistic. So it was really fun, and
And so,
yeah.
Also, the character of Baldwin, and again, this is just from what I've read because I follow the show pretty closely. So the character was not originally going to live for more than maybe half the season, but then something changed in the process. Justin Marks, who's the showrunner, creator of the show, what was it that maybe changed his view and kept the character of Baldwin going?
Yeah, correct. I just want to thank him for giving me this amazing opportunity because playing her is a dream come true, so I'm really happy. And probably Justin Marks loves Baldwin, and he loved the way I portrayed her, and because she's a strong female character, and probably this is the main reason.
So did they have, do you think, the season planned out in some way, but saw a little bit more in what you were presenting and said, you know what, this is, I guess we'll say, interesting and intriguing and a great performance. Let's expand this character. Maybe is that part of what may have happened there?
Correct. He told me you did a great job, and we are really happy to work with you.
You must have felt great about that, right? Because you probably weren't expecting to.
Yeah.
You weren't in it for the long run initially, right?
Yeah, correct.
That's great. Well, yeah, I think that if you start watching the show Counterpart, which, as I mentioned, is on Starz, still available, season 1, which ended several months ago, you'll see right off the bat that a lot of the characters, J.K. Simmons is the lead role. Is intriguing, and Sarah, I have to say, when you're watching a new show, at least here in the States, it has to be character driven. There's got to be something that interests you, not only about the story, but about the characters in the story. And when I saw Baldwin, I think I can speak for everybody here. First time on the screen, you think instinctively like, oh wow, here's someone that I haven't really seen before, portrayed this way. It's unique, it's interesting, it's fresh, and you really hope, knowing how shows go, that the character keeps living and living throughout the first season. So I'm happy that worked out for you, and I think it's great for the show as well.
Thank you so much, and I'm really happy to hear that. I've been working so hard on the character, and it was my first American experience, and I didn't know a word of English. So.
I still don't. Yeah, I can't. I still don't understand how you did that.
Well, if you ask me, you're speaking better than David, my co-host here, right off the bat. So So it's all uphill from here. Downhill, if you will. All right, we'll take a break here on Everything Old is New Again. We'll be right back to talk more Counterpart and Sara Serraiocco, and we're having a lot of fun on Everything Old is New Again, your entertainment pop culture talk show. Right back, right after this.
You're listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
3 more contracts.
Nadia.
I can finish the kill list.
You don't know these people like I do. They don't tolerate mistakes.
Why are you protecting me?
Because I care about you.
You only care about your mission.
Interesting. There are missions, and we have a mission here on Everything Old is New Again to expose America to Counterpart, the new series from Starz. It has been picked up, of course, for a second season. We're looking forward to the beginning of that. David Cohen, we have a guest as well. David, you're foaming at the mouth here. It looks like you have tons of questions to go for Sara Serraiocco.
I'm a super fan, and the fact that I get to speak with Sara Serraiocco is just, it's amazing. That I'm talking to Baldwin is just really blowing my mind here.
Long as you keep a distance, it sounds, from the character, a safe distance.
Exactly. So, Sarah, the clip we just heard, Baldwin and her relationship with a character named Claire, who Baldwin basically is employed by, right? Claire sends her out on these missions. There's a part in the show, and I know I'm going to give a little bit of it away, but I can't help it. So there's a part of the show where, the tide turns and Claire basically sets Baldwin up to be murdered herself. I'm just curious, Sarah, when that happened, as far as your character and your take on Baldwin comes back to her. Knowing all this, knowing that she was set up to be killed by Claire, she comes back to Claire and agrees to fulfill another contract to kill 3 more people. What was it within Baldwin that where Baldwin just, it was easy for her to just say, okay, you know what, I'm out of here, I don't want to deal with this anymore. What led her to come back?
At first, Baldwin has feelings for Claire, but even during the season, she wants to escape from the pain and wants to create a normal life. But being an assassin is the only way she knows how to survive, I think. So she came back to her to finish the mission.
And there's also a really cool scene, and I want to ask if you've seen this, but, the character of Baldwin in the very beginning gets shot in the face. There's this, huge scar running down I believe it's your right cheek. And there's a scene where she's offered, so Baldwin is offered a cigarette, to smoke, by some guy who's hitting on her, who she obviously is not interested in. So she takes a puff of the cigarette, inhales the cigarette, and when she exhales through the hole in the side of her mouth. And the guy freaks out and just has this expression on his face, what is that? And he runs away. And I'm curious, Sarah, did you see that in post? What did you think of that whole scene?
Sure. And when I saw the scene on screen, I thought it was weird, but at the same time it was fun and so cool. And I was really happy when I saw the scene on screen.
And it was totally in character for Baldwin, right. It was totally in character for Baldwin, right? You would expect that.
Yeah.
So, and again, I'm going to get a little more into the detail here, just because I'm a big fan of the show. So there's another scene, and let me set this up the right way. So Baldwin's counterpart, Nadia, and Nadia exists in quote unquote our world. She's a concert violinist, I believe, and she, I believe, got married in our world, or was engaged to get married, something like that. So Baldwin, so Nadia basically dies. She no longer exists, and Baldwin is in our world now, and Nadia's fiance sees Baldwin and thinks that it's Nadia who died, and she kind of freaks out and confronts her, thinking that Nadia had faked her own death. And there's a very intense scene where Baldwin then has to basically talk to her current girlfriend and explain what that was all about. And so, Sarah, can you tell me a little bit about, how you prepared for that scene and how Baldwin was so desperate to explain to her girlfriend, Greta, that what was happening?
Sure. And it was one of the most difficult scenes for me. And I was quite confused on set because I had to create a subtle conflict in her. And because Baldwin wants to live a normal life with her partner, with Greta, but at the same time, she can't escape who she is. She's a killer. We cannot escape who we are.
Sure. That's right. So it was a tough scene. And how was working with, I'm sure working with some of the other actors on the set informed you and helped you sort of figure out where you wanted to go. So talk to me a little bit about what your relationship was with J.K. Simmons and some of the other actors who you work with.
Yeah, for me, it was an honor working with all of them. And there was great energy on set, and they made me feel part of a family. And working with J.K. Simmons was a pleasure. He's a great actor, and I learned a lot from him. He's a great actor and also a good person.
And what about the woman who plays Claire? I'm going to totally botch her name. Nazanin Boniadi, I believe.
Nazanin Boniadi.
Yes.
Yeah. I found a friend, a good person, an amazing actress, and there was chemistry and we did a great job together.
Now, you did 10 episodes so far. So the question is, how long did it take for the entire filming process to complete those 10 episodes?
7 months.
Wow. Okay, and then so there's a bit of time.
5 months in LA and 2 months in Berlin. Yeah.
Okay. So the scenes we see in Berlin, out the exteriors and so forth, is right there in Berlin. That's pretty wild. Not too many television shows being filmed in Berlin, at least U.S. shows, I presume, right?
Yeah, correct. Berlin is amazing, and I love LA, I love Berlin, and I've been to Berlin so many times, and I felt it was the right place for Counterpart. And
is it different than L.A.? In other words, do you do any exteriors in L.A. at all, or is it all on a stage?
No, yeah. We shot a lot of exteriors in L.A. and in Berlin.
So I know in L.A., when I lived there, they've got tours, and they give the general public, if you're looking for it, a little heads up for an exterior is going to be on this street or whatever, and you can go and watch it and take a look, and I'm sure you've experienced that on some level. Does that happen in Berlin, too, or are people just living their lives, walking the streets, and all of a sudden there's you doing a scene?
No. I mean, it's normal. Like in LA and in Berlin, it's the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sarah, tell us a little bit about the transition for you personally, growing up and living as you did in Italy, and then suddenly finding yourself transplanted to basically, it's almost like you became your own counterpart, I imagine, right? Living in this brand new universe called Los Angeles.
Yeah. It was so weird, and I'm really shy. I'm really, really shy, and in general, I'm not really good at doing interviews. Even if I started working in the business at 19 years old, and I did independent Italian movies, and I mean, we don't have a huge film industry like in America, and working on Counterpart has been an incredible experience for me. And I always knew it was a great idea and a special project. And I was really excited to read, for example, the amazing reviews, and I'm really happy that the audience loves the show.
And we love spending some time with you, speaking about Counterpart with Sara Serraiocco. Excuse me. We'll be back right here on Everything Old is New Again. Continue our discussion and dive into this great show that's binge-worthy.
Binge-worthy, yes.
On Stars. Check it out. We'll be back right after this.
Now, back to America's entertainment pop culture talk show. Everything old is new again, with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Hi, this is Nick Stellino. You're listening to Everything Old is New Again, with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
We are very privileged to be back with a special guest here on Everything Old is New Again, talking about Counterpart with Sara Serraiocco, who plays Baldwin. It's a series on Stars. It's a series that, on its face, it's difficult to describe in a little bit. With it, just basically, there's a parallel universe where there are other counterparts of you there that have made different choices, and on its face, that's just where the story starts. But then the story develops in terms of the intrigue of the other characters maybe not liking what's going on this world. They don't like the interaction. They don't like the interference. Maybe they want to come and interfere over here. Maybe someone has passed away. I'm just throwing ideas out there. Passed away in their world that they want to snatch from this world and bring back to their world for the sake of love and family. I don't know if that's really been dived into yet.
And
but.
Sarah, sorry, Doug, but you mentioned something about people passing away. In other words,
right.
One of the cool things, Sarah, and I'm sure you know about this, I forget which world it was, but someone had found a Prince CD of an album he made after he quote unquote died in our world, and he so in other words, the impression was that his counterpart continues to live in the other world and continues to make music. I thought that was really, really pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. And Justin Marks is he's a great screenwriter, and he did a fantastic job.
And the more we see the show, the more
story.
Yes, the more we see the show, the more we see this interaction of people that are from the different parts of the universe interacting with each other, and it's beginning to develop more storylines that you would ever think. It's not just about this tunnel and the intrigue, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting and captivating story, and also, for example, when I read the script, I was fascinated by the philosophical side of the show, and also the characters were and are well written, and I thought it was a great opportunity to me as an actress to play different kinds of roles and to grow as an artist.
Sarah, what would your counterpart be doing right now? You think she'd be an would she be an actress as well, or might she have chosen a different path in life?
Well, I don't know. Probably a dancer.
That's part of your background too, I believe, right?
Yeah, because I studied classical and modern dance for a long time, so I used to be a dance teacher and a dancer. I would say a dancer.
Definitely not an assassin, I assume.
No. I'm totally different than Baldwin.
All right, so Baldwin, let me ask you, what is Baldwin's first name?
Nadia.
Oh, real? Oh, gosh, I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't put two and two.
Nadia and they were the same person.
So Nadia is Baldwin's first name. I did not know that.
Correct.
Okay, so the bottom line is that they did that as a nice creative touch to be able to differentiate the characters. You didn't even know that, David.
I did not. No. See, this is great stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
So, now, the Emmy nominations were released a little while ago. And I don't know about you, Sarah, but Doug and I we were extremely disappointed that the show did not receive any Emmy nominations, either for the show or for any of the actors. Did you guys have any expectations about that?
Well, I mean, I'm really sad to hear that, and we all did a great job, and to get a nomination would be a dream come true for all of us. And I don't know, I'm not into it, because I live far from Los Angeles and from America, so...
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's also the industry. I mean, it's, Game of Thrones was up there, and it's kind of hard, I think, as a new show especially, to gain a foothold as far as, the Emmy committee goes. So it would be tough, I think, in the first season. But for sure, I know that a lot of names were thrown out there as possible nominees. And, yeah, it is an L.A. thing. The fact that, though, I think the show is picked up for a second season and hopefully even more, will get it some more notoriety for sure.
Oh, yeah, sure. We're working on second season, and we have already shot in LA in a couple of weeks. We're going to start shooting in Berlin, so probably next year we will have the opportunity to get a nomination.
Oh, yes. Okay. So that I think you will. So that's very interesting. So I was going to ask you the question, but I think you might have answered it, Sarah.
Oh, yeah.
Is Baldwin, she's back, I guess, right, for season 2?
Yeah, she's going to be back.
Excellent. No, you can't.
But I can't talk. Yeah, I can't talk too much about my character.
Well, not even to just two friends that live 3,000 miles away that just are, have a small little radio show. That.
Unfortunately, I can't. I would love to, but I can't.
Yes. Well, listen, that's enough of a hint, and for some information to get us to binge, if you haven't already seen, on Starz, Counterpart. I guarantee you that if you tune in to give it, the first show, you've got to give it a little bit, learn the premise, but give it 2 or 3 shows, you'll spend the weekend watching this, and the problem is we then have to wait for season 2, but it will wet your whistle, will get you interested, you will, certainly there's a payoff there at the end of the season 1 that's going to hook you into wanting to see 2, and now we know that Baldwin is back, so that's almost a sort of a breakout character for this show, so we're really enjoying our time with Sara Serraiocco on Everything Old Is New Again. David?
Sarah, just getting back to the show for a minute, what was it like? Now, I've already given away for listeners that your Baldwin's counterpart, Nadia, didn't really make it past the first few shows. What was it like acting with, quote-unquote, yourself? Set that up for us a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, playing 2 different characters was an opportunity to me to grow as an actress. And, well, Nadia and Baldwin were the same person, but they lived different lives. Nadia lives in Berlin, and she's a successful violinist, and Baldwin is a killer. They are really good at their job, but Baldwin doesn't know anything about real life. And Nadia is classy, elegant, and she has a real job, an apartment, and she has a real life. And Baldwin hates her because Nadia has all the things that Baldwin never had in her whole life. But when they finally meet each other, they realize that they share the same painful feelings about their past. And it was really, to me as an actress, it was really important to play the scene when Nadia and Baldwin meet each other for the first time.
When you were doing that, was there another actress working opposite you, or were you just talking into space, or how did that work?
Yeah, we used a double in the scenes where both Nadia and Baldwin were present.
Was that more of a challenge for you from an acting perspective?
Yeah, but it was challenging, and it was interesting to me as an actress. It was a huge opportunity.
Yeah, this show gives you, as an actress, I would presume, so many more opportunities, or did, at least for the first 10 episodes, where you've got 2 characters to play, entirely different types of characters, share a same background. The science fiction element, if you want to call it that, of getting into something that's entirely different outside of your human experiences, is got to really wet your whistle, so to speak, in terms of acting, to dive into this and figure out how you're going to do this, right?
Yeah, correct. And I would say that it was a great opportunity to me to grow also as a person, and to try to give to my 2 characters real emotions and different kind of emotions, vulnerability. For example, Baldwin is tough but also vulnerable, and she's a strong female in a complex role, and I'm really happy that Jeff Marks and all the producers, it was
Well, they
it
saw
was a
that.
great opportunity.
Yeah, they saw that in you and in your presentation of this character, as we said before, to expand the character's reach beyond where you were supposed to be, so to speak, in the script, and now into season 2. So tune into that on Everything Old is New Again. We're going to be right back to talk more Counterpart with Sara Serraiocco, and listen, it's going to be a lot of fun. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
This is Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Up until 30 years ago, there was one reality, and then it duplicated. Two people, two completely different paths.
We cannot escape who we are.
The difference between you and me could be a single moment.
Welcome back to Everything Old is New Again. That was J.K. Simmons speaking about Counterpart. I'm here with David Cohen, and we have a special guest, Sara Serraiocco from Counterpart, who actually takes the role upon the role of Baldwin. And if you see this show, you will know this character. She's quite unique and will stand out. It's a great show to binge. It's on Stars, one of David Cohen's favorite shows. I just wanted to talk about that clip for a second. He describes pretty well what's going on. Obviously, that's their job in that clip, but better than I think we have. And it's myself personally, and it's very interesting to see that we in our lives could take a turn at any time, going to a different college or stopping at a stoplight instead of going through the light, or so many different choices we make in our lives take us down different paths. But I think it's very interesting how your character is so incredibly different from each other. At some point, well, I guess we'll get into that a little bit more, hopefully in season 2, to see maybe where or what was that choice or choices that made one go down a relatively evil path, let's say, and one go down a path of nicety. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. They are completely different, two different people. And I have already said that Baldwin is a killer and Nadia is a violinist, and I have to work on the physical side of my two characters, and it was an amazing opportunity.
But at one point, those characters, I know this might be beyond the script at this point, but maybe it's the backstory. At one point, those people were the same.
Yes.
And something made them go really different. And I think that's what's so interesting about the show. It's not just your character. Almost every character in the show has a different story like that. So it really makes it so interesting to watch the show. Forgetting for a moment in the science fiction, just that lesson or experience of our lives and what can happen with the different choices that we make.
Sure. And of course, when I read the script, I was fascinated by the philosophical side of the show, and also the surreal side of Counterpart makes it different from most spy thriller series that I have seen so far.
Sara, tell us a little bit about how acting in Counterpart, how it's helped your career, Sara's career, here in the United States. Has it opened some new doors for you?
Well, it was my first American experience, and I would love to work here again. Who knows? Probably.
What's in the works for you going forward? I know that you mentioned you'll be in at least part of season 2 of Counterpart. What else are you working on, or is there anything else that you're acting in or going to be involved in as far as projects going forward?
Well, actually, I'm working on second season.
Great.
And that's it.
I think
then we will see what's going to happen in the future.
I think that's probably enough of a workload for you right now,
that's
right?
Enough. Yeah. I got to be concentrated on.
I'm going to ask a tricky.
My work.
I'm going to ask a tricky question. Maybe are you planning to work the entire 7 months for the season? You don't have to answer if you're not allowed to. I'm just trying to be tricky. I almost got you there.
I can't talk.
I know.
I can't talk.
No, you know what? But we don't want you to, because that's part of the
silly.
fun. It's
Yeah.
part of the fun of the show is just not knowing what's going to happen next. So, can you tell us at least, or do you know, have they come up with an air date for when season 2 will be airing on Stars?
Unfortunately, there's no premiere date at the moment.
Okay.
But I will let you know. but I will let you know.
I hope you do.
I promise you.
Great, great.
I'll text you.
Oh, good.
Sounds good.
Even better. So, Sarah, so that people here in the States are more familiar or can get more familiar with the work that you've done before Counterpart, tell us a little bit about some of the films that you've appeared in Italy.
Yeah, I've been in this business since I was 19 years old.
Wow.
And I did a bunch of independent films. And, for example, my first movie, Salvo, was released in America in 2013. And it's an interesting and captivating story. I played the role of a blind girl, and it was quite a challenge for me because it was my first acting experience, but it went well.
That's great. And tell us the name of that movie again?
Salvo.
Got it.
SALVO, like save.
Got it. Great. Okay, yeah, we'll be looking for that. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm assuming we can get these certainly in this day and age. Just go to wherever it might be, Amazon Prime and YouTube, and almost just put your even IMDb. You could put up if you're listening.
Even IMDb.
Yeah, just IMDb.com, and you can then just look Sara Serraiocco's name, or just if you can't spell it, I'll make it easy. Go to Counterpart, and you'll see her name right there under the character Baldwin. Click on that, and you'll see a bunch of the films right there. Which of the previous ones was excluding, let's say, Counterpart? Which of those films that you did in Italy to you was, I know it's hard to say the best, but the most, what would you say, the most watchable? If you had to recommend one, let's put it that way, movie from Italy to watch, which one do you think you would say?
Well, I think all of them. I mean, Salvo or Chlorine, for example. Chlorine was my second movie and went to Sundance Film Festival in 2014, and in which I played the role of a synchronized swimmer. And later in 2015, I did a movie called La ragazza del mondo, Worldly Girl, in English.
Okay.
Yeah, the story is about a Jehovah's Witness who falls in love with an outsider, and it's a really tough story.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you should check it out.
Now, I definitely will. I think that's a great idea. Now, speaking of the idea that you're speaking two languages here, at least, and you did know English going into this project, so that's a relatively new language. How did you're doing beautifully, obviously, and you learned it quickly. How did you do it? Is there something you could suggest to someone to help them learn a language?
Oh my God, no! I mean, I speak Italian, English. I'm trying. I'm improving my English. I'm so sorry if my English is not really good. Sorry about
No, there's
that.
not. You're doing beautifully. You're kidding?
And I speak French. And I don't know, I've been working so hard, and every day, every single day I went to school and working with the dialect code. It's what I've done.
Right. And tell us about your travel schedule. You're in Italy right now. We understand the Counterpart is filming in LA. So are you traveling back and forth between Italy and LA to do this?
Yeah, I'm always traveling back and forth. Around the world.
Sure.
I'm traveling all the time, but I like it. It's my life, it's my work. That's what I want to do in my life.
And can I say, generally speaking, what area of Italy are you in? The northern, southern? Where do you generally reside?
No, I'm in Rome.
Oh, you're all around.
I was born in a small town not far from Rome, maybe 2 hours by car, Francavilla al Mare, and then I moved to Rome when I was 19. And I studied at the National Film School in Rome.
That must have been so incredibly interesting to be in Rome. I have visited there and didn't want to leave. There's just so much to see and to learn if you want to learn about antiquities and where our civilization came from and so forth. It must have been tremendous. And by the way, very great, really good gelato, even by the Trevi Fountain, if I remember.
Yeah,
sure, absolutely. All right, so Rome or L.A., which place would you rather live?
Oh, my God. I don't know. Half and a half.
Perfect answer. There you go. Well, maybe your counterpart can live in one and you can live in the other. That would be great.
Yeah. It'll be great. 6 months and 6 months.
There you go.
Or
There you go.
Both. Yeah.
We've had a great time speaking with you, Sara Serraiocco from Counterpart. Baldwin is the character. Stars is the network. You've got to take a look at this. If this continues, we're having such a great time with all the characters from the show Counterpart, and everything old is new again. Looking forward to the second season, and I would say that David is such a big fan that he's going to put in to do the after show for Counterpart if they happen to do one of those.
Oh yeah, Sarah, put it. If you put in a good word for us with the show. Yeah. So after Counterpart ends, there'll be an after show. Doug and I'll be sitting there talking with you or whoever else about the episode. It'll be great. Put in a good word for us, will you?
I will.
All right, we got it. If not, it's regardless. We're still friends. Don't worry. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and really have a great time filming. And we're looking forward to 2 and 3 and 4. We're going to put our 2 cents in there where we can and get everybody to watch. Counterpart is well worth your time. Thank you, Sara, for your time.
Thanks, Sara.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank
you.
Terrific. Thank
you. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Excellent.
Same here.
Bye.
All right, we'll be back right after that.
Ciao,
next
ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Here we go.
Ciao, ciao.
We'll come back. Everything else new again next week. Talk all things entertainment, pop culture.